Welcome to a special edition of Be Less Stupid. I'm on location amongst the charred remains of the Sepulveda Basin. It was one of the areas in Southern California hit with a deadly wildfire last week. I'm your host, Jon Hotchkiss. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when new episodes premiere. All right, moving on. On Friday in downtown Los Angeles, near where I live, a whole bunch of environmental groups got together and put on a big rally in front of City Hall to bring attention to the disastrous results of the impending climate crisis. School students from across the U.S., including climate rock star Greta Thunberg, pleaded with 1,000+ people who showed up to wake up, listen to scientists, and take climate change seriously. Otherwise, we're all going to fucking die in a fiery apocalypse that will make the fiery pits of hell look like, well, wherever it is that the Teletubbies live.
Not only do they deny the science of climate change, but they believe that the end of the world is coming. And the more the environment gets destroyed, the more the world is divided by war, the more they believe that they're right.
So, what are the effects of climate change, you ask? What's going to happen if the temperature goes up even just 2 or 3 degrees? Besides more devastating wildfires like the one that happened right here around me, which, by the way, are growing in size and frequency and becoming much harder to extinguish, especially in the fancy areas of Beverly Hills and Bel Air, where firefighters are required by law, to fight fire only with Fiji water. Also, by the way, if you're looking to help people whose homes were destroyed, you can do your part by going to the internet and picking something from their registry at Tiffany's. I bought 2 diamond-encrusted Hydro Flasks. Where was I? Oh yes, 1 year ago, our federal government released a devastating scientific report documenting the massive human and economic cost that America will face as a result of climate change.
People are already suffering and dying from the climate and ecological emergency.
Farmers in the Midwest will produce 75% less corn. Tens of millions of people living on the U.S. coasts will be forced to move inland. Fire season here in the West will become year-round. Wildfires will become commonplace in America's southeast, like in Florida, Alabama, Georgia, and Louisiana. Water will become increasingly scarce in some parts of the country, like Arizona, while torrential downpours will devastate other parts of the country, like Washington and Oregon. Many thousands of people will die from dehydration or drowning. America's infrastructure will crumble. Roads and train tracks will buckle, causing devastating accidents and horrific deaths. Supply chains for food, water, and technology will be catastrophically disrupted. Millions of livestock animals will die. Multiple thousands of humans will die from extreme temperatures and mosquito-borne disease. The oceans will become progressively more acidic, killing millions of marine lives. And perhaps worst of all, our national anthem will be replaced by Buster Poindexter's version of Hot, Hot, Hot. Ole, 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 ole. Scientists warn that if we don't implement radical, sustained, and severe changes to what we eat, what we drive, what we make, what we rely on for fuel, what we allow industry to pollute the atmosphere with, life on Earth as we know it will become radically different, dramatically worse, and frighteningly dangerous before the end of this century. Only here's the thing. There's just one problem, one tiny little problem. The solutions proposed by climate activists are wrong.
People are already suffering and dying from the climate and ecological emergency.
You see, the solutions proposed by climate activists are increasingly being shifted to individuals. At rallies like this one in Los Angeles, people aren't just being encouraged to make change. They're being harangued, shouted at, belittled and shamed. And look, if I wanted someone to chastise me for my imperfections and not living up to my potential, look, I don't need to drive and fight traffic and get all the way to downtown LA to do it. No, I can do it the old-fashioned way. I can stay home and get yelled at by my wife and kids. The speakers at the climate events, like this one, tell the assembled crowd that in order to save the world, all of us have to be good citizens of the planet. The speakers at climate events like this one tell the assembled crowd that in order to save the world, all of us have to become good citizens of the planet. And we have to do it now, immediately. And if we don't, the animal holocaust will be our fault. It'll be our fault when corn becomes popcorn while it's still on the stalk, and coastal cities become human aquariums. And the only way to stop it is this. We must all become vegan. We must stop eating meat. We must reduce our carbon footprint, whatever that is. We must drive hybrid cars, or cars that run on renewable energy, or switch to public transportation. We have to all recycle. We have to put solar panels on the roofs of our homes. We have to switch from incandescent to LED bulbs. We have to move closer to where we work. We have to stop using paper or plastic bags at the grocery store and switch to reusable bags. We gotta unplug the TV, the computer, and the fridge. We gotta fly less, travel less, and walk more. There are even some climate activists who are actively encouraging new families to have just one child. Only here's the thing. Americans making personal sacrifice is not the solution to climate change. Let me repeat that. Americans making personal sacrifice is not the solution to climate change. Looking for solutions to the impending doom of climate change in individual sacrifice and action implies that all we have to do to solve the climate crisis is to make a few sacrifices. Ride the bus, stop eating hamburgers, and turn off the air conditioner. Becoming a vegan or driving a Prius will do nothing for the environment except enrich Trader Joe's and Toyota. No other massive global crisis finds its solution in individual sacrifice. Let me repeat that. No other massive global crisis finds its solution in individual sacrifice. The solution to homelessness isn't that people with homes are no longer choosy about who sleeps in their guest room. The solution to unemployment isn't for those workers with jobs to work harder for less pay so that their company can hire more workers. The solution to preventing breast cancer isn't for more men to become official breast inspectors. The solution to famine in Africa isn't for Americans to send them those bouquets of cut fruit and chocolate-covered strawberries. That climate activists are suggesting the solution to climate change is found in individual sacrifice obscures and ignores the enormity of the problem that we face. Let me repeat that again too. Suggesting the solution to climate change is found in individual sacrifice obscures and ignores the enormity of the problem that we face. Here are the facts. While the U.S. is the second largest emitter of greenhouse gases, we only represent 15% of the global total, and that amount is decreasing every year. And America is responsible for just 16% of carbon dioxide emissions into the atmosphere. The solution to climate change is not found in individual sacrifice. Climate change is a global problem and demands collective action among governments around the world. Nations must impose strict limits on manufacturing emissions and impose strict limits on deforestation. Nations must make investments in renewable energies. There must be a global decrease in the use of fossil fuels. Government regulations must mandate maximum thresholds for automobile and airplane efficiencies. Governments must invest in infrastructure, including roads and power lines. Governments must invest in new technologies, like, say, a vacuum that would suck the CO2 out of the atmosphere, or a giant mirror that would reflect the sun's heat back into the atmosphere. So, I would like to urge, no, I demand that climate change protesters put their enthusiasm for activism and their huge big hearts to better use. You have got to demand that our representatives write laws that protect the environment. And you gotta leave me and my baby back ribs the fuck alone. Look, if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our channel. And you can also show your solidarity with other like-minded liberals who support free speech and equality by going to our website and getting yourself one of these nice Be Less Stupid t-shirts. Just click the shop button in the menu. I would like to thank you all for watching. For Be Less Stupid, I'm the host, Jon Hotchkiss, and I'll see you next time.